welcome all the guests this evening. Thank you for being here. Is there any need for Spanish translation? ¿Hay necesidad para traducción al español? Si no, Carmela, muchas gracias. Thank you, Carmela, and ready for that. Moving on to item A3, I will entertain a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by Director Mike Garza to approve the agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Director Hilmes. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to item B1. Citizens request to speak. Is there any? No, Dr. Hurst, okay. Great. Moving on to item B2. We have some student recognitions today, and so I'm going to ask, I believe I see at least a couple students here. I'm going to ask the board to come and stand in the front, including our student rep. And I'll grab the cordless mic. Okay, so we want to recognize, I know we have 5 recognitions today, and maybe only 1 student showed up, and so I'm going to go ahead and name them in the order that happened. So as soon as you hear your name, come on up. So we have the Othello High School FFA students who participated in this local rodeo roundup, and so we have Isabella Pruneda, who won Horse Champion Showman. And so we also have, I'm going to name them, even though it doesn't look like they are here, Micaiah Hollenbeck, who was the winner, let's see, Sheep Champion Showman. And then we have Riley Ashton, who also won Reserve Champion Market Hog. And then we have Morgan Weber, Champion Market Hog, and then Sarah Wilson, Champion Market Rabbit. And so we want to congratulate all those high school students who participated. Thank you very much. And we'll get a picture here. Oh, someone middle? Okay, my fault. Sorry about that. I apologize. Yeah, if we can. Thank you guys very much. Okay, moving on to item B3, we have Jennifer Garza here, principal of school, coming up and give us I believe you have a PowerPoint presentation for us.
So thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to share a little bit with you about what's been happening at Scootney and what's going on this year. And I want to thank my staff for being here tonight to support me and our school. So the bottom there is kind of our motto: our kids, our school, our future, and just that belief in that these are all our kids, not just my classroom or my grade level, but all of our kids. This year at our beginning of the year, we kicked off the beginning of our year with this idea of believing in ourselves, believing in our kids, and believing that together we can make a difference in our school and in our community. So we got everything we've been doing this year has kind of been around believe. We got notepads that have little belief quotes. At all of our meetings, they start with beliefs. this year. So 2 years ago, we started. This is my fourth year at Scootney, but my first year was kind of get into Scootney and get to know the building and how things worked there. And then the next year, partnering with Wajitas and with Pete we started to make some changes. We didn't make all the same changes as Wajitas, but it was a good partnership. So that's just a list of some of the things that we made from 2014 to 2016. So kind of our biggest things were the idea of a walk to read and a walk to math model, where for a portion of the day kids were ability grouped so that we could identify specific deficits that they had and try to fill those holes. Another big change for us was we call it the push-in model. So we took all of our resources, whether they were our paraprofessionals, our ELL teacher, our special ed teacher, and during those walk-to times, we pushed them into that grade level so that we had all available resources in there at that time so that we could break kids into pretty small groups and meet their individual needs. Because originally it was the kids were pulled out, especially special ed students, were pulled out like maybe during core reading or core math or during science or a different time of day to get that extra special ed or ELL support. So that was kind of a big shift for us that took some adjusting to. Just making sure that all kids were getting core instruction. Because when we first started talking about the walk-to model originally was that even during the core time they were ability group. But this way during the core time, students are getting grade level content, and then during the walk-to time they're getting it their grade level. Anyway, so those were some of the big changes that we made. Last year we did start with Engage New York, and now this year it's Eureka, but pretty much the same. So last year at the very end of this school year, we have been having some success in reading and math, but last year at the end of the school year, we met as a whole entire staff, para, pros, and teachers. And we talked about what does Scootney look like, what is our data telling us, what stands out, what successes were we having, what areas of growth had we had, and then like what changes did we need to do, what were we going to do about those things that we needed to change. So this was some of the data that we had. You can see this graph is showing from 14-15 school year to 15-16. So we had a little bit of a dip in third grade ELA and third grade math, but the rest of our grade levels had growth from the 2 school years. This one is just a breakdown specifically of the SBA ELA claims, so how we did in reading, writing, listening, and then research and inquiry across the grade levels. This year of focus for the whole entire district is reading comprehension, so then we even more specifically pulled out how our school did in just that specific claim compared to the schools across our district, and then the district as a whole, and then the state. So when you compare us to the state, we have lots of room to grow still. This was specifically how our ELL students did compared to the district and the state. So our 4th grade had some really outstanding growth there. This is our special ed and how they did in ELA. Because that data is mostly 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, this was just a snapshot of how K-12 or K-12, K-5 we use what's called the really great reading assessment, which measures how students, it's pretty much a decoding survey to see how well they can decode individual words and then simple sentences. So this again comparing 14-15 to 15-16. So the first year that we implemented it, and then last year, so now we're in our 3rd year with it. So again, there we've seen some, we're not where we want to be. We'd like to see 100% all the way across there, but we're starting to see that upward growth. And then same thing, this is just dibbles, but that way you can get a snapshot of how 1st and 2nd grade are doing also. And this was how many words they grew that year, their average growth. This is taking a look at the Smarter Balance math. So again, the 3 different claims that math is broke into, how each grade level did. Our district focus and our building focus is math concepts and procedures. So again, just looking at how Scootney's doing compared to the other schools of the state. So in 4th grade, we were a little bit above the state. 3rd grade, we weren't too much below. And then 5th grade, not terribly below, but definitely math, we weren't as far off from the state as we were with ELA, but definitely, I mean, we're still in the 40%, 40% there, so that's still a very small number of our kids compared to where we need to get them. So for Scootney, that's a focus this year too, is our math concepts and procedures. This is just showing how our ELL students did specifically in those grade levels compared to the district and state. That's how our special ed students did. So the reason we specifically looked at our ELL students and our instructional vision, and so we've been trying to incorporate that into Scootney's vision also, and so that we're aligned with where the district is trying to head. So all of our conversations, whether leadership team meetings, staff meetings, PLC meetings, talking about reading comprehension, and then math concepts and procedures, and what changes we need to make to get in that direction. So these are some of the changes that we've put in place, or we're putting in place this year. So with our really great reading program, they came out with a new one called HD Word, which is similar to Boost and Blast, which we already currently use, but it moves them at a little bit quicker pace. And so, especially with our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, hopefully instead of maybe having to spend the whole year like in the Boost program, we're hoping to get them through that program by Christmas or by the Christmas break, so that come January they're doing more on grade level content stuff. In the really great reading, there's another test called Foundational Skills Assessment that we gave to our 1st graders this year, because coming out of kindergarten, it showed that 100% of our kindergartners were at grade level. So we use that exact same test at the beginning of 1st grade usually, but since we had 100% of our kids at grade level according to that first test, we needed something else to give them to see where their holes were. So we gave them the Foundational Skills Assessment. There's more of a focus on trying to get the grade levels to take the interim assessments, even our 2nd graders. So even though the interim assessments don't start till 3rd grade, but taking our at and above grade level 2nd graders and having them take that interim assessment also, just to kind of start to get them used to the format and the higher level questions, so that it's not such a shock when they get to 3rd grade. Lisa Horn has been in the district, and I believe we're going in the direction of working on some item writing with her. And then she also went through a data analysis process with us a couple weeks ago with the administrators and the coaches that we are doing with our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in the next week here. In writing, our writing team is working on putting together a K-5 progression. So what should writing look like in kindergarten? What should writing look like in 1st, 2nd? And the reason we have that is because when you look at the ELA claims, in the writing and research, or the writing component, is a lot of the areas, sometimes we would have kids that were really close to being a level 3 or a level 4, and the thing that kind of dropped them down was the writing piece. So we haven't had as much focus on writing, so for Scootney, writing is kind of a big area for us to focus some of our efforts. We have been using Step Up to Writing, but just making sure that we're using it more intentionally, and we're using it K-5, not just pockets of classrooms here and there. Using the SBA writing prompts, and then again those interim assessments. In math, just continuing with the implementation of Eureka, and then we've also been using some of the entry tasks and problem sets that were created by Auburn, and that I know Justin Johnson continues to work on. So those were some of our changes that we're making this year to hopefully get us that next boost. These are some things that a couple years ago we started working on for what we believe at Scootney. And when the school board was in Scootney the other day, we talked about some of these things also. These are some of the things that teachers can expect from us as leaders, and that we expect of ourselves. So Deborah and I doing instructional walks, making sure our professional development is focused around reading comprehension and math. I don't know what I did, but it's yellow. Oh, okay. Anyway, making sure that we're building those relationships with teachers, especially our new staff, but just all of our teachers, just the importance of relationship. Seeking to understand, being a servant leader, so asking our teachers, what is it you need from us? What can we do for you? What resources do you need? How can we support you? Um, I'm a big believer in having that servant's heart and doing whatever it is that we can to support our teachers and not just our teachers, but all of our staff. Advocating for teachers and support staff, so when they are passionate about something or feel strongly about something, that we're there to. And again, just that idea of believing in each one of them. This is what we expect from our teachers, to be intentionally planning, to teach with intensity, to put forth their best effort every day. So maybe going on in your personal life that's making it a hard day, but as long as you're putting forth your best effort. So it doesn't mean every day maybe is going to look identical, but that we're giving it our best effort, and then doing what's best for kids. So sometimes that's not makes it uncomfortable for adults, or it's not what we want to do. Adults, it would be a lot easier if I could do this, but it's really what's best for kids. And then to have that belief in themselves and their kids. This is just one of my favorite quotes that we talked about a couple years at an admin meeting. To go fast, go alone, and to go far, go together. And so just that idea that it takes each one of us, each teacher, each parapro, our kitchen staff, our secretaries, and our kids and our parents to, if we're going to take that next jump in our data so that we continue that growth and we get out of that 40% bracket and can maybe get up into that 50, 60, 70 bracket, that it's going to take each one of us putting forth our best effort. I believe that's my last slide. Oh, that's our kids.
Thanks, Jennifer. Is there any questions from the board?
I do have a question.
Sure.
But Jennifer, what is your biggest challenge this year?
My biggest challenge this year is I think getting people to understand the intensity that needs to happen, because we've made a lot of changes, and they've been good changes, but we have to do more, because we are kind of stuck in that. We haven't got over that, or in a few pockets we've got over that 50%, but it's going to take more. And so taking those good things that we are doing and that passion that we have for our kids, but being more intentional and more intensive with it. And so just trying to find the best way to motivate people, that, to encourage them to want to do that, because I can't make you, have that intensity, but how can I inspire you? How can I inspire you? How can I motivate you? So just trying to, research and just think about ways that I can, instill that in them. That's my own personal challenge. Is just recognizing the work that we've done and how much effort teachers have put in, but then how do we wrench it up to that next level?
So you think you have all the tools that you need?
I think we have a lot of great tools. I don't really think it's necessarily that we need more things. I think it's fine-tuning the ones that we have, and I think it's identifying some key groups of kids that we can, we can really target. So one of the things we're going to do in our data meeting is, really identify, if it's where we were at last year, and then so how many more kids do we need to get to the next level, and then really targeting those kids. So I don't think it's necessarily that we don't have the tools that we need. I think we have enough tools. It's just really being intentional with those tools and then just raising our level of intensity.
One thing I appreciate hearing from your staff. So our first visit was with Hiawatha, who just started Eureka Math. And while they were positive about it, they said, it's hard work.
Yes.
And it was nice to hear from your staff, who had already done it, to say, last year it was hard work. This year, it's like we have a handle on it now. And even though it's still hard work, we've got the hard part really out of the way. So it was good for me personally to hear that, knowing that there's light at the end of the tunnel for the other teachers who are doing it this year. And you had told us that, and to hear it from your staff, it was good to hear.
Yeah, if they can hang on tight.
So I've got to say, Jennifer, that I'm excited to see and hear you explain about the changes that will happen this year. I'm looking forward to the improvements that will be made this year with ESPA. And I've got to say, in the 3 or 4 years that we've done school visits, Scrutiny Springs is a well-oiled machine. You guys, I mean, it's just the walkthroughs and our visits with students and staff are amazing. And so you're doing an amazing job. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I did want to piggyback on what Director Garza said. Just from the moment you get there, the kudos to you and your entire staff. I know that when we debriefed as a board for a little bit, I asked Deborah, you know, you're the newest one here, one of the newest ones, how's it going? And to hear her have nothing but positive things to say about you, your mentorship, the way she's been treated by other staff, goes to your belief, some of your belief statements, you know. If you want to get there fast, you go by yourself, but I commend you for trying to build this team. I know you expressed the challenge of having it here, and if it was up to you, it'd be done, but you've got a big task to get the entire team on board, but you started something that is noticeable. To hear all the compliments even from your parents, that was very, very encouraging. The smile when they get in there by everybody that goes there. To the staff that's here tonight, congratulations. We had a great visit. It was good to see the genuineness in everybody that spoke. Most of it was good, and even the few negative things said were said in a manner where they're left open to we're going to get there. You know, we may not be there yet. There was a teacher that commented on not really buying the concept last year, but this year she's like, oh my God, that's what it meant last year. Now it's working. So to piggyback on what Rob said, to see all that just goes to your traits as a leader, and I commend you for that. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
The gorditas, that was a good idea.
I like.
I'll make sure I keep that on the agenda for next year.
Jennifer, thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank my staff for coming again tonight
Yeah,
too.
thank you, guys.
Thank you.
They love you, we told you that.
Moving on to item C1, consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion's been made by Director Simmons to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Second by Director Mike Garza. Any discussion?
I just want to make a comment on the monitoring reports that Dr. Hurst put in this time. I appreciate that every opportunity you have to present some kind of evidence that you're putting in the reports. I appreciate that because you know, anecdotal only goes so far.
Absolutely.
To have something in writing is nice. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to change the donation policy from 1,000 to 25,000.
That's a recommendation.
Yeah, that's the recommendation. Do you have a comment or concern about that? Or a question, maybe?
It's a big jump. That's my only concern. We go from 1,000 to 25,000.
Okay. Any other comment, question?
I'll make a comment. I mean, I remember there was a lot of discussion around when that was set at 1,000. I think that one of the big things I remember is that the board wanted an opportunity to thank people for the donation. I feel like we still have that opportunity, but it doesn't really make much sense to me to hold up donations just for us to give it a formal approval. Are we ever going to deny a donation from someone? I don't know that would be a scenario would come up. But
Part of the discussion back then was also where the donations are going to and trying
Equity,
to keep some type of equity.
I agree. Is that our role?
Probably not.
And so when I looked at it, the first thing I thought of too was, wow, that's a big jump. And then as I thought about it more, I think that it's the role of our district leaders to make sure that there's equity.
And they know what our intent is. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would necessarily agree with that because our intent seems to change sometimes. And so it's a big jump.
Okay. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm sorry.
How did you word that?
All those in favor.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
the motion will
Aye.
be. Okay. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0. Moving on to item C2, superintendent report. Dr. Hurst, is there anything to report?
Just wanted to highlight one thing that's on the report. It was in the weekly newsletter, and that is something that we're going to celebrate, and it's the School of Distinction. And though Pete Perez is not here, we wanted to recognize and honor his work as the former principal of Wahidas Elementary School. You saw in the weekly letters for sustained growth, 5% increments over a number of years. That's to be commended, him and his staff. So we're going to do a very appropriate celebration. We're inviting all the board members, all of Wahidas, teachers, students, staff, Darcy Weisner, the superintendent of ESD 123, will be coming up also, say a brief word, and he'll be presenting the School of Distinction banner. So we're just excited and very proud of Wahidas Elementary School for their efforts, and we just wanted to highlight that to the board members. We also wanted to just highlight some of the ongoing work that's happening with the direction of the district. We're starting to do initial planning for strategic planning, and we're going to be bringing on an individual to help us with that process. And when we say strategic planning, we're talking about instructional vision. So what does it look like teaching and learning 5 years out? We already know we have a strategic plan, but we're really talking about teaching and learning. You heard Jennifer Garza talk about our priorities around reading comprehension and math procedures and concepts, but really what does it look like 5 years out in the classroom? So we have people who want to partner with us. Big Ben, the president there, Terry Lees, has been very instrumental in really saying that he wants to move in the direction of pathways at Big Ben Community College. I share with him, well, that's part of our plan also, in looking at STEM and other pathways for our schools here in Othello. So what will it look like? What will innovation look like 5 years out? So those are the conversations we're starting to have. And it's not too early to start planning. This is the right time. We've just started having those conversations with the executive team, and then we're going to be bringing principals into that conversation, and teachers and students and staff. So we're excited about the direction. We wanted to highlight that.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Hurst. Any questions from the board?
You haven't set a date for this yet?
No, we haven't set the strategic plan. We just have started having the conversations.
The recognition.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so the recognition, that's going to be on the 20th of October. Tentatively, we just have to coordinate with everyone the dates, but we did send that date out. We are going to develop a formal agenda and program, and we'll get that to all the board members as soon as possible.
Great, thank you, Dr. Hurst. Moving on to item C3, director discussions. And I don't believe there's any legislative news, right?
Want me to talk about the presidential debate?
No, thank you.
There's no new news.
Student rep report or presentation or anything?
Just have a few things just to mention, and then I'm gonna ask a question. But so mostly at the high school, our homecoming is coming up, and we have a lot of big plans for that.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And we also started or generated a pep club at the high school because we noticed that we were the only high school in the district or league of our schools, whatever, that didn't have a pep club. And that's something we're kind of lacking based on like my perspective as like someone who's cheering and trying to get people to be have spirit. So we created a pep club to bring those grades together. And we actually have a few from each grade so that we're not keeping anybody out, and we're getting all the students involved. We're getting router buses to go to games, and we're trying to bring more people into pep clubs so that people don't feel left out. People who don't necessarily do sports can have something else that they feel like they belong to in school, because I know a lot of freshmen think. But yeah, so we have that going for us. And then I just wanted to ask a question of like what you would like me and Kaden to kind of bring forth, because we're still a little lost getting like at the high school and stuff. What would you like to see us bring to you, or have any ideas of what we could do as students? I have the ideas. I feel like I'm just saying the same thing every week, and I don't want to do that.
Board, any suggestions?
I would say one of the things when you guys interviewed, one of the questions we asked was, how would you at the high school, you know your peers, but how would you, and I commend you for, I don't know if I didn't go to the Hiawatha. Hiawatha was, you were there at scrutiny, maybe reaching out to the middle school and the elementary to see if you guys, in your interactions with them, if there's anything there that you guys could incorporate in what you're bringing to us. Because you are representatives of the entire district, not just the high school. Maybe some involvement there, because the day-to-day at the high school, obviously you guys are there every day, but if you guys could branch out perhaps in the rest of the schools, maybe some info from them.
Because I know both me and Kaden are doing the teaching academy, and kind of, I'm getting a little bit here and there, but because I'm really focusing on I get a little group of students every day and help them with math, they kind of struggle. And so that's really the only thing that I'm noticing is that they are struggling with kind of the Eureka, because it's way different than when I went to school, it was easier to understand. Even me today, I'm like, you have to learn this now. So that's kind of what I'm getting right now, but we will be going to different schools and doing different things, so then we can bring that as well. That's all I'm really understanding from it.
One suggestion I would give you, Kira, is maybe looking at our policies, current policies, and maybe bring some recommended changes to the board that would benefit high school students or middle school students or elementary school students that would help in whatever issues that they're having that you see is going on. I mean, I think that maybe if you look into some of the issues that students are talking about or having issues with, that maybe you could bring a recommended change to the board on a certain policy. And I think those are obviously things that we could discuss and maybe bring a change. I think that would be amazing. And so things like that I think would be great. Is there any other suggestions from the board?
Really, anytime we have policies and policy review, really, Kira, you and Caden could mention things if you have thoughts about the policy as it's written or things that could be added or reworded. We're always interested in your opinion on that. I really think that the things that you and Caden have been bringing have been good, and so for me, school climate stuff is important. How are things going at the high school? I know school spirit's been a big deal this year and trying to improve that. And you guys have talked about that a couple times, and so I just like to hear what's going on from a student's perspective.
It's just like, actually, you kind of briefly mentioned it, Rooters Bus. I think the last 2 football games now,
Yeah.
they've done Rooters Bus.
Yeah, we went on the cheerleaders went on the last
Right.
one.
So it's been a while since there's been a Rooters Bus to go anywhere, so that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this has been asked, but what do you think of the dances coming back? I mean, I think do you guys call them mixers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one got a lot of attention and we're bringing it, and then the second one, because it was Fair Week, kind of died down. I went to that one as well, and there was about 15 people, and then it slowly, because then we have homecoming, and the dance for homecoming is going to be on Saturday now. So then we really don't need a mixer on that. So it's kind of, we just need to keep doing it so that it's something the kids want to go to, like, oh, let's go to the mixer. Because then I think that it's going to generate something, oh, I have something, you want to go to the dance? Yeah, we're going to go to the dance on Thursday. And it's just going to be a positive, it's positive.
Awesome. Good. Thanks so much, Carrie. Any other questions? If not, I think we've already kind of shared a little bit of with Jennifer about our scrutiny visit, and so unless there's any other comments, I will say that three of the board members have been registered for October 13th, the school board regional meeting in Richland, and so you will be getting your information soon. Cherie will send that to you if you've been registered. There's 3 board members that will be going, so be ready for that. And I believe that's all we have.
What day is that?
It's October 13th, Thursday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you still think you can make it, let Cherie know as soon as possible, please. Okay, moving on to item D, assurance of organizational performance, and we have nothing in that category today. And so we'll move on to item E, 1, policy review. And as you are aware, several weeks ago, the board came together for a workshop dealing with revisions to policies. And so all those revisions have been outlined here under policy review. We could go through them one by one. If you'd like, is that the way you want to go? Okay, so Policy reviews, we'll start with EL4, treatment of stakeholders. Is there any corrections, revisions, comments?
I move to approve the modified EL4, treatment of stakeholders.
Motion's been made by Director Simmons to approve the modified version of EL4, treatment of stakeholders. Second by Director Mike Garza. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Going on to E2, EL6, staff compensation.
I do have a question on that one before there's a motion.
Okay.
When I look at the change, the new item number 1, fail to recommend for board approval salaries that represent established competitive compensation for employees. Is that all we changed? Was that word? I thought we had like established procedures or established. There was something else in that wording. So as I read it, I don't know what established means. What are the established competitive compensation? I thought it was something based on the established district philosophy or something like that. Is that you guys' recollection of that?
It's more than just established.
Did I know Tony's the one who had his changes written. Was that what it was? Is that what you had written down? Those are probably your notes, Dr. Rivers?
These are my notes.
All we had is fair and crossed out with established, replacing that, according to his notes. And so I'm not sure if Tony's notes had something different.
Tony had them in red. I didn't save my copies of it. But
Oh, okay, yeah.
those are Tony.
Yeah.
Okay, well if that's Tony's, then I'm not sure that's making much sense to me.
Okay, what would make sense then to you? Do you have
Well, I just wonder maybe this one specifically we could table to get put, because Tony made the recommendation we get his thought process on what that means. And so I move that we table
Yes,
EL6 to our next board meeting.
I agree.
Okay, so we have, do we have to make a motion, or can we just get consensus?
It's in here for action, so
Okay.
I think.
So motion's been made with table.
No, there.
What do we decide? I move to table it.
Oh, you did.
Do we have to table it, or if we don't do anything with it, it just stays?
Stays there.
Just stays,
Yeah.
All we need is a consensus, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll.
There's a motion on the table, so you can, there doesn't have to be a second.
Die for lack of-
Motion's been made, and so to table EL6, do I hear a second? So no second, then motion dies. We will leave EL6 in policy review for our next board meeting. Moving on to item E3, EL7, staff evaluations.
I move to approve EL7.
Motion.
The modified EL7.
Motion's been made by Director Simmons to accept the revised EL7 staff evaluations. Any, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Director Hilmes. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Moving on, EL10, Facilities Program.
Well, I have a question on this one. Number 5, my memory is that there was some verbiage left in there to say that there will be emergency escape routes maybe included in the Safe School Comprehensive Plan. Was that, and you had brought that up, was that right?
Yeah. So,
So 5 wasn't supposed to be struck. I think it was supposed to say
Yeah.
something else.
you're right.
Annual evacuation plan.
So, can I get consensus to table this one as well?
We could. I feel comfortable making a motion with that wording. What was the wording on that?
Annual evacuation plan.
So number 5, instead of being struck totally, could be a failure to provide a Say it again.
Annual evacuation plan.
An annual evacuation plan, or was that to include an annual evacuation plan in the current safe school comprehensive plan? Is that what the original discussion we had was?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the proper place for that one? Is that
Well, it depends.
Is it?
How, and
or is
maybe,
it at the sites themselves?
my question, I guess, would be then to Matt, how often do these plans get changed?
The Safe Schools Plan itself, or Comprehensive Safe School Plan, does not change. It's reviewed every 2 to 3 years. And actually, the evacuation plans are electronically on Rapid Responder and are available electronically to law enforcement and fire through that program, including family unification areas, evacuation routes, first aid, triage, and things like that. So they are in place electronically, and actually that system provides that.
What about a failure to maintain and distribute an evacuation plan for all facilities? Is that
That makes sense.
the point that?
Yeah, that's the point that I was trying to
Okay.
make.
Failure to
Maintain,
How would I say
provide and
that?
maintain.
Provide and maintain, okay. An evacuation plan for all facilities.
So that'll be the new number 5? So a motion's been made, okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Recommendation for the verbiage as well.
I motion we accept the revised EL10 verbiage of the wording that's been expressed tonight.
Motion's been made by Director Mike Garza to accept the revisions made, including the new revision to number 5. Wait a second.
Second.
Second by Director Hilmes. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0. Moving on, EL 15, student safety, conduct, and discipline.
I move to approve revised EL 15.
Motion's been made by Director Simmons to approve revised EL 15, student safety, conduct, and discipline.
Second.
Second by Director Mike Garza. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. EL 18, balance of student diversity.
I move to approve EL 18.
So, before I second on that, I have a question. I don't remember that the original policy said the superintendent shall not fail to aim towards. I thought it was shall not fail to maintain. But I actually looked back through our current policies, the board docs, and it says aim towards. You guys remember it saying aim towards? No.
No, I remember. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm curious about, we're making the change, but I'm curious if that is actually what the original said, but it won't matter, right? Because
Right,
we're
because
taking
change.
out,
Phil?
not fail to make progress toward it. Okay.
Well, this does say, I don't know what version this is, specify superintendent's responsibility to maintain.
Right, that's what it was. Right. Okay.
That's where it's going to be.
Yeah, so,
It's going to change.
and, yeah, as long, I like the new verbiage, that's
Okay.
fine.
So a motion's been made by Director Hilmes to approve EL 18.
Second.
Second by Director Simmons. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. EL 19, mandatory policies.
I move to approve EL 19 revised.
Motion's been made by Director Simmons to approve the revised EL 19 mandatory policies.
Second.
Second by Director Mike Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. GP 11, board members' conflict of interest.
And this would have been one that we just, we monitored last meeting, right?
Right.
I have no recommendations.
No recommended changes, so, okay, that one stays the way it is. BSR 3, which now will be BSR 1, and so just make sure that we understand that. So BSR 3 will be moving to BSR 1. Any changes, or I need a motion to approve?
Just a recommendation before a motion, that when I look at number 4, so we brought in all of BSR 1, added it to BSR 3 as number 4, but the redundancy in that was really the first sentence, so I just feel like if we took out that first sentence, starting at members, that would be good enough for number 4, right? The board's sole connections to the operational organization of the superintendent, well, that is the opening statement.
Right. I agree. We need consensus though.
Before it begins, that members will refer.
That's what I would recommend.
Yes.
Need consensus?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I move to approve the revised BSR, which will now be BSR 1, with the exception of removing that first sentence in the recommendation for item number 4.
So a motion's been made by Director Simmons to accept the revised BSR 3, which is now BSR 1, with the changes that have been stated. Do I hear a second? Second by Director Mike Garza. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. BSR 4, which will now be BSR 3. Need a motion.
I move to approve BSR 4.
So it would be revised BSR 3, right? I think that's, would that be the proper way to do it?
Well,
Okay.
yeah. Well, we just need to know that that's the change.
We're referring to.
Who cares what it was going forward, right? So I think revised BSR 3 would be the right way to say it, Stuart.
I move to approve the revised BSR 3.
Motion's been made by Director Hilmes to approve the revised BSR 3. Second?
Second.
Second by Director Mike Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. So the revised BSR 4, I will entertain a motion.
First, I have just some clarification for Dr. Hurst.
Yes.
I'm assuming on this, I didn't go and cross-reference it, but in the table, it reflects all the changes you asked for in 8.1.
Exactly.
correct?
GPA 8.1.
The only thing I would say then is, for some reason, outside the table, EL20 is listed again on the second page.
Oh, I got it. I see that.
So I move to approve revised BSR 4 with the removal of that redundancy.
Motion's been made by Director Simmons to approve the revised BSR 4 with the change that has been stated. Second?
Second.
Second by Director Hilmes. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0. The revised BSR 4.1. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to accept revised BSR 5,
4.1.
4.1, excuse me, 4.15.
Motion's been made by Director Mike Garza.
Second.
To approve revised BSR 4.1. Second by Director Simmons. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. The revised BSR 4.1.1. I'll need a motion.
I move to approve the new BSR 4.1.
Motion's been made by Director Hilmes to approve the revised BSR 4.1.1. So here's a second.
Second.
Second by Director Mike Garza. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. And the revised BSR 4.1.2. I'll need a motion.
I move to approve revised BSR 4.1.2.
Motion's been made by Director Simmons to approve the revised BSR 4.1.2. There's a second?
Second.
Second by Director Hilmes. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0. Well done. Now there will be a need for executive session for the purpose of discussion of real estate acquisition and staff evaluation. We will recess for approximately 5 minutes and then begin our executive session.
Duration of the executive session. The duration, how long?
30 minutes.
About 30 minutes.
We'll start at 8:50 or 7:55.
7:55, yeah.
Did you say if there's action taken?
There is no action. I didn't. Did I answer?
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Take care, Amy.
We're going to use this one because this one we didn't get started until after consent agenda. So we're going to